part in my skinny jeans, man.
There really is a whole like thing about that on social media. It's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. I think I was like one of those only kids in high school that wore stuff kind of like around what you guys are talking about right now.
Yeah, you got best dressed for high school. The weirdest, right?
No, best dressed, but everybody thought I was weird.
Yeah, it's okay to stand out. You were bold enough.
That's
to
what
stand
I've
out.
always been about.
Yeah,
that's what I've always been about.
Oh.
It's Monday, another People Being People podcast.
Me with my whoop whoop.
Yeah, with Mona and Tyler and Mona. I'm ready for this one.
Me too.
I think we're going to be talking about a lot of this type of stuff today. I got that feeling for some reason.
Yeah.
Happy Monday, everyone. This is People Being People. Let's get to it. Self-love isn't an easy journey.
Especially when you came from a really broken place inside of you.
It's an everyday choice. You ready for this one?
Yes. I feel like we have been having a lot of special people on our podcast recently, almost like every week.
Yeah, and we got Dakotah Jordan here today.
Woo woo!
And Dakotah is super special because her name is spelled with the H.
Oh my God! Thank you for telling the people that.
Don't forget it, because
Yes.
I know I've forgotten it like a couple times.
I know, and
so.
she was like, you're forgetting the H.
And I love that about you, because a lot of times when someone will get someone's name wrong, they'll just let it happen and won't say anything. And
Yep.
you're
Well,
like,
I can't let you do it on marketing materials.
Right.
If you're gonna put my face on something, you gotta spell my name right.
Right? Like, it's just common sense. But hello.
Hi.
It's so awesome to have you on the People Being People podcast.
Yay.
And okay, so before we get into the flow of things and get into some juicy topics, who is Dakotah? Do a little introduction of who you are.
Who is Dakotah? Well, she is. I am. Am I supposed to speak in third person? I feel like I'm supposed to do my intro in third person. No, Dakotah Jordan is. Hi, my name is Dakotah Jordan, and I am an entrepreneur.
Awesome.
I am a community advocate. I am loud and obnoxious. I am a hell of a lot of fun. Those are my titles. What I do, I own a company that I didn't just start it, but I am about to go full-fledged entrepreneur full-time.
Let's go.
But I started my company last year in July. It's called Dakotah Yoga, and I am a certified 200-hour yoga teacher.
Oh, wow.
I am a breathwork, mindset, and meditation coach. And I am a Reiki practitioner. That's a lot of things. I'll give you my business cards so you don't have to remember them all. You can just read them. But that is what I do. I teach yoga and help people live their best lives and try to be inspirational and fun in every way I can.
Hey, that is awesome.
Is that a good intro?
Yes,
yeah.
that is
that
very
was really good.
Very
you do
good
everything.
intro.
You do everything. That's one of the first things I noticed about you too when I met you. It's like you're involved in so many different things.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And
do you sleep?
I do. And I try to sleep 8 hours a night because I get really crabby if I don't. So I would say right now I'm probably averaging around like 6 to 7. I'd like to get back up to 8.
because you did message us you loved something very early this morning. And I was like, I was still kind of in my sleeping zone. And I was like, oh, wow, she's up. It was like 6 a.m. I swear. Like 6:30, 6 a.m., 6:30.
I go to the gym 3 times a week. I go to CrossFit at
great.
6 a.m.
Wow.
That's good
so
stuff.
you
So
are
that
an
means
early
that means you're up probably about like 5.
5:30.
5:30.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like if you ever come to CrossFit, it looks like Dakotah's still sleeping. Like my hair is like sticking out of my like hoodies and everything, and I'm like running in with all of my stuff like half asleep.
I'm here.
But I'm like, I got here. Like I was not fed. I did not brush my hair. Like I brush my teeth and I run out the door. That's the only thing that I accomplish.
That's what happens.
But I get there.
That's kind of how you got to do it though when you go into the gym, because it's like if you sit around too long, you start thinking like, oh, should I do this today?
Exactly.
Or you like get hungry. The thing that happens to me is if I get up too early and I wait too long, then I get hungry and then I don't want to work out.
And
so
then
I
you're
have
hangry.
to like, yeah. And then
You
I
get hangry?
I get very hangry.
Oh,
So
yes.
I have to like roll out of bed, brush my teeth, get out the door, and get there.
It's
So
like, hey, well, that's awesome. Well, I want to know a little bit on how you got into yoga and Reiki healing and all of that, because I'm very interested in it. And I know a lot of other people are interested into it. So tell us a little bit about that. What started your journey? Why did you start?
Yes. So we'll roll it back, many moons ago, 7 years, to my college days. And I went to college at Northwestern in Orange City, Iowa, small town, no yoga studios in that town. And I don't even really remember how I heard about yoga at the time. It wasn't as big as it is now, especially living in a really tiny town. But my junior year, we were working on this big project, and I just remember being really stressed out. And I remember going to Walmart in Sioux Center, and there was like a yoga mat, like a really crappy yoga mat. I think that was like $10. It was navy blue. And I remember like getting this little 3 set of DVDs, and it was like yoga DVDs. And I was like, I'm going to buy these. And I think altogether it was like $35 or something. I'm going to buy this and I'm going to like get into yoga. And so then I started popping the DVDs in and like practicing in our living room with the girls that I lived with. I lived with 5 other girls in an apartment at that time. And I would just like do yoga a few times a week. And then we had pickleball courts at the college.
What's that?
And I don't exactly know. And basically, it's like a big room, and you can like hit the balls like off the wall and stuff. Or is that pickleball, or is that something else? Racquetball? I think it's racquetball. Racquetball.
Okay.
I think you can play pickleball in there too. I don't know. Sorry for all the people that I'm offending by not knowing the difference in my sports. It's a room.
Sorry, all you pickleball people.
I know that it's actually pickleball is getting big in Sioux Falls. I've never played. Now someone who's an expert invite me to come play, so I know what I'm doing. But these like racquetball courts weren't being used in the morning. No one was playing, and so I was like, I want to get like people together to come do yoga. I've like found this thing that I kind of like to do, and I had found some YouTube like yoga people that I liked to watch, and so I would bring the laptop and bring myself, and I would be like, yoga at this time in the racquetball court, and I would get people together, and they're like, well, when are you going to teach us? And I was like, I am not qualified. Like, I can find a video on the internet and I can turn it on. And so that was how I found my Zen. Like college is very different and very stressful in a different type of way that adult life is. And it just gave me grounding and peace. And so it was kind of from there that, I'd kind of hoped that I would become a yoga teacher someday because I really liked it. And I'm really into activity and movement and all these things. But then I moved to Sioux Falls and I had to be an adult, and being a yoga teacher didn't really seem like a stable way to get an income. And so I just I kept practicing here and there and joined some studios and one-off classes, but I just the dream kind of fell aside until I went on a yoga retreat fall of 2019, I believe.
Where was this at?
It was at Newton Hills State Park. Shout out to Sarah and Beth, 2 of my teachers who led that. Okay. And I always wanted to go on a yoga retreat, but I didn't have my passport for a really long time, so I couldn't go on like one of those really cool ones that was like
my
out
dream.
of the country.
That's literally
That's still on my list. But I was like, oh, this is a local one. Like, we're gonna go like camping, be outside. It'll be really good. And I went on that, and I was like, it's time. It's time to do it. I'm gonna become a teacher. Wow. And then I signed up and I started January of 2020, and that's when I became a teacher.
Wow. That's awesome. I feel like you've always been a natural leader, huh? I just feel like your energy is like leading people.
Do you have siblings?
I have one older brother who's 12 years older than me. I was basically raised as an only child. And I'm the youngest. Sometimes I say that I have youngest
syndrome.
Yeah, youngest child syndrome or baby syndrome or whatever.
Right.
But so I wasn't ever really like leading, and I've always been the baby. I've always been the youngest, almost in every situation that I've been. Whenever I've been like employed by somewhere, or like even my part-time jobs, like I've always been the youngest. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Yeah, you would think that it would be the other way.
Yeah,
the way my personality is.
Yeah. Right. So then where did your confidence gain?
I don't know. Maybe my parents just boosted me up because I was the spoiled little baby.
And you mentioned your brother's 12 years older than you. And usually they say when kids have like older parents, they act like their parents or whatnot. Were your parents in like their 30s or?
No, they're how old are my parents? My my mom will watch this because she watches everything. She's gonna be like, "Don't tell people
I
that
know.
I'm old."
Right. We better be careful.
Okay.
Sorry, Mom.
Okay. Maybe we won't go
I know
down
how that goes.
They're older,
Yeah.
young at heart.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
hey, that's where you get your spunk from.
Because sometimes we're like, I don't understand how people in like their 40s and stuff have kids. Like some days we're like, man,
I know.
Like, how do they do it? Because kids, you know how that is. And I've heard before, you know, people say that usually like someone that's older, their kid acts like them, you know?
They're
So-
more intelligent, I feel like. I have some friends that have older parents. And
More mellow.
Yeah, and they say they're more chilled out and mellow, and like their parents have like talk to them like how they would talk it to an adult. And I'm like, wow.
So
I grew up with a young mom, so I didn't really get that.
Maybe we just hyper all the time then or something because our kids be bouncing off the wall.
Would you describe me as chill or mellow?
No.
No,
So
you
maybe not. No, you're very like
energetic.
energetic. Yes.
But it's the leadership aspect of it, though. Like
Of
and
where
the,
that
the
came from.
confidence, because you know, usually at a young age, people get lost in like that sauce, like, or being energetic is just like a cover up, but we can tell that it's authentic, you know.
yeah.
I think I had a lot of investment in me ever since I was young. I mean, my dad definitely put a lot of expectations on me to perform and, you know, be the best. And that was kind of
That's
the expectations in our family. And so I was always kind of working towards that. But then I think people just saw there was some sort of natural, because I've been told that. I mean, I don't want to be like, I've been told this my whole life. But I mean, I kind of have like, there's just been a lot of expectation of like, Dakotah, you're going to lead people
Yep.
Yeah.
and you got to learn how to do it well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I played all the sports that I could at my tiny private Christian school that I went to. And, you know, often was, I had a decent athletic ability for the environment that I was in. If now let's stick me in a big public school and I probably would have been a really crappy player. But in my environment, I was good. I was real good.
But that helped
but I
with
got
confidence.
to play. Yeah, I got to play as a younger, you know, as a 7th grader, I was playing on the varsity team for volleyball.
Okay.
And was always a starter for basketball, mostly because we only had like 7 players. So I had to step up. You know, I had to step up in that reality, and then had coaches that put a lot on me of, you know, you can do this, and have kind of always been a little bit of an encouraging person and wanting to get people on. So that's, you know, that's team captain material. Someone who is going to push the team forward for themselves and for other people. And so I think it kind of just stemmed probably from sports, and then I always just want to be involved in all of the things and be friends with all of the people. And so when you do that, then you're just
You're
get
always
involved.
out
You
of
get
your
asked.
comfort zone
Yeah,
too.
you get
Yeah.
asked to do a lot of things and to step up. So I just had to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you ever feel like there was a lot of pressure put on you by that? Like, and how did you deal with that? You just
Therapy.
I like that answer.
Hey,
I like
we
that
all go to
answer.
therapy, okay?
I like that answer.
Yes.
And I mean, that's the reality. For the longest time, there's 2 ways that you can spin everything, right? You can say, oh, I am this way because of my parents, and I am this way because of my parents, in either a negative or a positive light. My dad put a lot of pressure on me, and I could play the victim of that and be like, my dad put too much pressure on me, and he always expected it, and he didn't love me enough, and all of this stuff. Well, the reality is that he loved me enough that he saw the potential when I didn't.
Yes.
And wanted me to be the best that I could be, and saw better for that, right? And so I can take that pressure and say, you know, that pressure builds diamonds.
Yep.
And that is kind of where I got. So I think it came from this mindset of not playing a poor me, and everyone always puts too much pressure on me, and I can't perform, and I suck, and I can't do everything that they want me to do, and I don't ever feel like I'm pleasing anyone, and being like, nope, you're dope, and you're doing great. And you're gonna keep going. And that pressure put me here. I wouldn't, if they didn't put all of that pressure on me, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And I really like the person I am today.
Thank
so
you.
Thanks, Dad,
No.
for putting
Thank
a
you,
lot of
Dad.
pressure on me.
Thank you,
And
Dad.
every other coach and everything else that had really, really high expectations, because I think I kind of hated them at the time, but I'm really, really grateful for them now.
They were doing
Oh,
it
that's
out of
awesome.
love.
I'm glad to hear that because I'm very much that person. Look, you see how she's pointing at me right now?
Yep.
And sometimes I feel like, dang, do I put too much pressure on the kids? Aaliyah, you know, she's 7, so she understands stuff a little bit better than Raiden, obviously. And sometimes I'm like, am I putting too much pressure on her? But thank you, because that makes
Kind
me
of
feel
gives
like
you
I'm doing the right
confirmation,
thing.
because sometimes I'm a I'm a big baby when it comes to that. I'm like, no, don't do that. But then I do see in the grand scheme of things when I like take a step back, like, wait, he's doing this for the good to build them and to make sure that they're strong-minded.
Yeah.
And so
And always letting them know that you love them. You know, like I always knew throughout that. I know that my dad wanted me to be the best player on the team and to get straight A's and get A pluses and all this stuff. And he pushed me. I also knew very much that he loved me throughout all of that. So I think if you're balancing that, like, yep, I expect a lot of it out of you, and having those conversations when they fail to meet expectations of, well, I still love you. That doesn't mean you're a failure. It means, you know, pick yourself back up. Let's do it again. Yeah. And I'm here for you and I'll be cheering you on. So there's a difference.
Yeah.
Well,
it's funny because I share this story with her a lot, but I think that's a way that I've like been my whole life. It's just natural. And I'm like that in mostly everything. You know, when I set my mind to something, I'm like, you know, fixated on it, tunnel vision, get this thing done. You know, I take things very seriously. And sometimes I think back to like my high school years when I started to get a taste in entrepreneurship. My background in the arts is through dance. So I had like a little dance group. It's like my first business ever, where we would like travel around the States and perform at different places and stuff. You know, long story short, it became a business. And there was times, you know, we didn't have a studio to practice at all the time. So we would move all the furniture out of my room and practice in my room. And I would make them do it like, nope, not good enough. Do it again. We would be in there for like hours until the floors and walls start sweating.
Yep, that's
like, no, that wasn't,
do
it again. And it's funny too, because they were like 3-4 years older than me, and they would get
and you
like
were
so
the
upset
youngest.
with me. Yeah, like, dang, we've been in here for 3 hours doing this back to back. We got to do it again. Like, yep, it got to be perfect.
Yep.
You know,
Us young people are pushers.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to push them.
For real. No, that comes to, this is like the main question I've been wanting to ask you, because this really attracts me to you, is you are very open and vulnerable. Like, you are just Dakotah. Like, when you come in, you're you. You don't have a mask on. You're confident in yourself. And like, a lot of people put masks on because they're too afraid to like open up and be vulnerable and show who they are, because they either, you know, don't want to get fucked over. They don't trust easily. And so like, has that always been easy for you, or has that been a journey in itself of like just being okay with being Dakotah and showing who you are?
Yes. So I would say it's definitely been a journey. I mean, I think I've always just been very open, and I've been a very gregarious personality and all of that. But in some regard, that has been a mask that I have hid behind, is that. And people thought, oh, she's, you know, all of these things. And it's like, yep, I will let you see it to a point. Like, I want you to think that I am always having fun and everything is great and this positive front. And then it got to the point where, you know, I've had some trials and tribulations in my life where things weren't going great. And then, but what the front that I was putting on was that everything was
fine,
happy. Everything's fine. Dakotah's always fine. Dakotah's always okay. Because, and that was a little bit of that pressure thing too, of like, you got to pull yourself up and you got to present the best front. Otherwise people aren't gonna, you know, they're not gonna buy the product. The product is always you.
Yeah.
So I think I hid behind that like positivity mask for a while. And it wasn't until kind of in this past couple of years that I've been through some deep shit that I've really had to be like, okay, no, the reality is this is who I am. Like, I am a very positive person. I can always put a positive spin on things. And that is a part of my personality, but coming back and being like, hey, people, I am a real human. I have bad days. And like, I do get angry or I do get upset. I don't like those emotions. I don't like feeling them, but I'm in a space now where I'll admit that I need to work with them and I need to be open about that. And there's people that I need to share with, and I don't have to hide and tell everybody that I'm okay when I'm not actually. And so, you know, you guys gave me a perfect platform to talk about that at the Wake Showroom event, to talk about like, I've been going through some stuff for a couple years and I've made big mistakes and I've hurt people. And there's things that I'm not proud of that I don't want to scream at the mountaintops of what I've done. But I did some stuff and I'm not proud, and I also haven't been happy, and I've been in really lows. Like, I've been depressed. I've wanted to not be here. And people need to know that they're not alone. And I think when I found out that I wasn't alone in that, then I was able to share the story with people of like, hey, yeah, you can be upbeat and positive and have all of this stuff, but then share that other piece of you as well. And I hope that I'm coming to a place in my life where I'm showing more of the totality of myself and showing more of behind the curtain of, yes, this is reality of who you get when you get me, is all of this and all this energy. But I am 100% willing to be open and honest about the things that I've been through with people. You know, you're not always screaming that on a platform, you know, you don't necessarily want to be like, I'm crying today and post that on social media, you know, like that's just going to bring everybody down. But if someone wants to talk to me about it, I'm here 100% every single time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love that.
I love that too. Cause it's like, you know, the main thing we talk about, of course, is self-love. And I think people have this idea once they start their journey of self-love that everything is supposed to be all positive. I can't have negative thoughts. I can't feel this way. This is bad. But in reality, suppressing those feelings is more counterproductive than, you know, allowing them to flow, observing them, you know, so that you can gain that information on how to deal with them next time, or, you know, love yourself better. That's self-love right there.
It's loving yourself and taking the proper steps, you know, to ensuring that you overcome those emotions, or not necessarily, okay, I would say overcoming in a way, but just allowing them to go through. Because let's be honest, we're human. We have human emotions. You're going to be sad throughout your life. You're going to be unhappy throughout your life. So just allowing them to go through until next time. Yeah. You know, and it's okay.
We're complex human beings, you know. We're not, how would life be?
Got a lot of feelings.
Like how would it be? We would be like robots if we just had one feeling, just happiness. Like that would be kind of weird, don't you think? Like if everybody just like this, like, hey.
Well, you can't experience, I mean, one thing that I feel like I've been going through and trying to work with is like, you can't experience the fullness of an emotion. Like you can't feel complete like joy and being elated if you haven't been like in the darkest parts of your life, right? Like this is what makes this really great, because being joyful all of the time, then it's just gets boring, right? I feel like there's been lots of movies about these things where have that, right? And it's about, I feel like what I'm learning is holding it in the same hand, right? As someone who works with people's energy and does yoga and tries to get people to better their lives and all of this stuff, I am like, here's this like life, and I am so grateful everything that I went through, because this is amazing, and life is really, really good. I've gotten to a place in my life where I feel very, very content. I'm still striving for a lot of things, but I feel very content with my happiness and a lot of the ways people I put around me and stuff like that. And then I'm like, but I'm angry because there's things that I did that I don't like. And there's things about myself. I'm grieving old versions of myself and what she did, and holding those emotions in the same hand. I can be really happy that everything, like I can't wish something away. I can't regret something. I can't say that, because then I wouldn't be exactly where I am. But then at the same time, but I'm pissed about the thing. And I've been really wrestling with how can you feel these at the same time, because it feels like, well, I have to be grateful that it happened. I'm also pissed that it happened. Those don't feel like they fit in the same sentence. And so I'm still trying to wrap my head around all of that. And I'm like, I don't like feeling angry because it lowers my vibration.
For real though, that was me yesterday, I swear. And I was just like, you told me, you're like, just go through it, Mona.
You have
just
to.
go. And I was like,
you got to.
You're right. I will be moody today. You know, it's just.
Yeah, even on a spiritual journey, it's like, you know, when you start that, you feel like, oh, my vibration has to be high all the time. I have to be vibrating high. But we forget about the intention part of it is, you know, if you're really feeling something and you're really going through something, but you're suppressing that by telling yourself, I have to vibrate high. What's the intention behind that?
You're not actually vibrating high.
Right.
You're just suppressing something.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
real though. So speaking of like your yoga and stuff, I want to know a little bit about your Reiki and like, when did you start that? How do you do it? Kind of walk us through the process, because it's a very interesting thing. It
is a very interesting thing. So I would say my first interaction with Reiki was with a woman named Kim Hackney. She owns a company. She changed her name. It's Sacred Soul Anatomy, or not alchemy, not anatomy. Okay. Alchemy. And I met her, we worked together at Tara Shepherd Boutique. Okay. And she's like an intuitive and does like this healing energy. And I was like, all of this stuff's really weird. I don't get it, but like, you're cool.
Right.
And I went to this like meditation and Reiki thing with her, and people were talking about like spirit guides and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting into. Like, I was raised in the Christian faith, like a little bit more conservative background. My eyes have opened. Like, I still put myself in that worldview, but in a much more open space. The reality is that we're humans with bigger brains now, but like there's a lot of things that we can't understand. God and whoever that is, what that is, the presence of that is way bigger than our minds can ever comprehend.
Absolutely.
And we put God in a box all the time.
Yep.
So that'll be my like,
I just got the chills.
don't talk about faith and politics and stuff.
Yeah.
And I went there. So
Just people being people.
there's that. And like, it's just this expansive, like there's so much that we don't understand.
Yep.
And so, but I was like, this freaks me out a little bit, like coming to my faith. And I kind of had to wrestle with that for a while. Well, then I got to this place, I was going through stuff really emotional. I was in a place where my body was like I was holding physical pain because of my emotional pain, and I didn't know what to do anymore. I'm like, I see a chiropractor and I take care of myself and I work out and I do all these things, but I'm still in pain all the time. And I was just desperate. Well, my friend Chelsea, who owns Chelsea's Boutique, and then also has the company My Purposeful Life, where she does coaching and things like that, she started this. And I went to her and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm hurting and I'm lost and I need you to help me. And I was so desperate that I was like, I don't even care what it is. But I asked her a lot of pointed questions of like, where does this come from? What is this energy? All of this freaks me out. And we had this honest conversation. I think each practitioner is different and what their worldview is and how they grew up. Like they carry all that with them. But I was like, okay, I feel comfortable. Like, help me. And it was after that session, it was an hour long and it was the most relaxed I've ever felt in my adult life. I'm a pretty high strung person. People couldn't figure that out already.
You be like deadlifting.
Always
How much do you deadlift?
I don't know, like 100 and some.
Wow.
I thought it was like 200, you know?
Tyler just building me up over here. I deadlift like 300 pounds. I'm super strong. Got glutes of steel.
Wow, that's really amazing.
And it was this beautiful experience. So it was the most relaxed I'd ever felt. And I took a mental health day and took the whole day off. And I was able to like take a nap without feeling guilty about it and not feeling like I needed to clean my whole house. And I just like laid there and relaxed and went to lunch with my friends. And then I think it was the second time that I went to go with her, I was dealing with some relationship stuff. And I was just hoping, I was like, this like Reiki thing will just like magically heal all that, right? Like I'm going to go to this session and like everything's going to be good to go after that. That's not how it works. But I was hoping that it would. And she knew that, she could feel all of that and tap into that. Yeah. And so it didn't feel the same. It wasn't the same as the first one. But that was really what spurred my self-love journey. Because she's like, you're looking for healing from all the brokenness in this relationship. And you can't do that until you love yourself first. And I was like, that's not the answer that I wanted. And she's
wanted it gone.
She's like, I
just
know.
want you to bandage this up real quick and I go on my way.
She's like, it doesn't work that way. And I'm like, you suck.
Gotta do the work.
But I keep going back.
Yes.
So, when you're willing, those are the type of people, like people want to come one time and then they come the second time, they realize they have to do some work. Like that's the really interesting thing about Reiki is it's this beautiful, like provides you the relaxation and provides you this like meditative release, like, openness. But then there's also work to do.
Yes,
like there is
shadow
always
work.
Homework to do of, okay, these are the things. It opened up something. We released something. We were able to put that down and now we got to move forward. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it is because I feel like it kind of mixes these two worlds that I've been in of like the yoga and like improve yourself and like feel, the light and the vibration, all of these like more lighter spirit type things. But then, doing LOT and being besties with Bonnie and Tamian and like all of this like self-growth work, like it mixes all of that together in a way like with spirituality, because I believe we are, in a lot of ways, we ignore that piece of ourself because of differences in religion. That we're like, no, I don't like religion, so I'm going to ignore this spiritual piece of myself. And you're losing an entire piece of your being when you do that.
Exactly.
And so I really want to help people, you know, regardless of where you're at, you can figure it out together. I'm not telling you exactly what to believe in. I know where it comes from me. But it's this opportunity to bring that piece of your self-growth and your mind, your body, and your spirit and your spiritual life all together, and move forward with whatever things that you're dealing with. And so every single session that I've went to multiple practitioners. Every single one is different. Every single time that I give Reiki to someone, it's different for me than it is for the person laying on the table. And so just to like walk through the experience, because I know people are going to be like, okay, well, what is this thing then?
This
absolutely.
is
What is it? So typically someone schedules an appointment with me and then they come. I work at Selah Space. It's a cooperative space that I use. And we come in and we kind of talk about like, what's going on? What's your energy today? How you feeling? You know, is there something that you really want to work on or something that's a really big burden? Something you want to meditate on. We kind of focus that intention. I either give someone, you know, let's meditate on that or let's think about releasing that. And then I'm like, okay, take your shoes off, get comfy on the table. You can be under the blankets. You can be on top of the blankets, like get comfy on the massage table. You keep all your clothes on and you just kind of, you know, lay there mummy style. And I put an eye bag over people's eyes so they can just relax and sink in. Sometimes I use crystals if people are cool with that. And then I use kind of a lot of aromatherapy in the room, different incense and sprays and stuff like that. And then I kind of welcome the divine in to do the work. And I don't see myself, it's not me. I don't consider myself a healer. I'm a facilitator for that.
Oh, okay. What's the difference? Just so people know what you know, if I can pronounce it.
Yeah. And I think each person sees, because I know a lot of people call themselves energy healers, and it's just for me, it doesn't resonate as much. And because I don't think, I mean, I'm doing something, but it's not about me. I feel like I have been called to it. I have done this spiritual work, this self-growth work that I've gotten to a point where it's like spiritual maturity to hold the place for someone else. Sometimes we're dealing with our own stuff and we can't hold space for other people, right? We've all been there, and I still get there. There's still going to be times where I'm going to be like, I have to back away. I can't hold space for you because I got to hold space for myself and I need to go see someone. But I think when you get to this certain place where you can hold that space and energy for someone else's healing, that's what I see it as. And I see the divine kind of flowing through. It's this energy of unconditional love. And people are probably like, this is starting to sound like real weird and wooey right now. I get it. Hang with me, because I've been there. I've been you. Like I was there, but there's so much mystery in the world that like we can't understand. And if you're someone who wants an answer to everything, then this probably isn't for you. But if you are like, yep, I'm okay with mystery and like things happening coincidentally and some greater plan for me being out there and a calling, then this might be a form of healing work that you can go through and a practice that you can use, because it is that. There is so much that I can't explain. I'm still having a hard time trying to explain it to people. I'm like, just come and experience Just come and do it and experience it, and then you can tell people about your experience, because that's mostly what I can speak from is how I've experienced it. So
that was
amazing. That was a lot.
No,
Sorry.
it's amazing.
No, it's good. So for someone that is willing to try this, how should they go about it? Like finding the right person, all of that good stuff. And I bring this up because Mona Lisa and I watched this video the other day, and I know very much, you know, there's people out there that are doing everything for the wrong reason. And me personally, I believe that whatever it is you do, if it's grounded in love, then you're on the right frequency. You know what I mean? And we watched this video, and it's a Netflix special out on it. You probably know where I'm going, where this guy, he was a yoga teacher, and he was doing it for all the wrong reasons. Like, you know, touching the students, women,
the power,
that sort of stuff, you know, that. And it was around the time when like yoga got like really popular, and people were just like walking in, dropping in the class, didn't know much about him, the instructor. So someone that is, you know, interested in yoga or Reiki healing, what would you suggest to them on like, you know, connecting with the right person?
I mean, I think you can always interview people and stalk them on the internet, you know, like watch their stuff, hear the way that they talk about it. You know, how are they educating about it? How are they talking about it? Are they you know, reach out to them, shoot them a DM, shoot them an email. I always welcome questions. And I think specifically in this regard, with more so with the Reiki than with yoga, people are afraid to ask questions. And I'm like, I've asked every question probably that you're going to think of, because I was that person where I'm like, what the heck is this? You know? So I really invite people to do that and to talk to me about it, because I want that to be an open conversation, because it's going to evolve. The way that I continue to explain it is going to evolve as I experience it more and experience it with different people and how they, you know, react and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, I just want to help people. I just want to give them love. I want to hold space where it's 60 minutes of you being 100% focused on and being loved on. And I think most Reiki practitioners are that way. Otherwise, I don't think they would be called to do this work. But there's definitely going to be people that are more your cup of tea than someone else. And I think you just need to follow them, look at their stuff, shoot them a message, ask them some things that you're wondering about, and do that. Or if there's something else that you can experience with them in some other way, you know, buy their product or go to their class or show up at an event that they're at, you know, just to feel out their energy and see if it matches with yours. The interesting thing that I have found, and I think I've talked to some other, you know, energy workers about this, is people like will flock to you that has been stuff that you've been through. So it's, I mean, it's stuff that I can speak to, right? Like a lot of the clients that come to me, I'm like, this is eerie. Like, I've been there, you know, like it's
the same life.
Like, you know, it's these things, and maybe it's not exactly the same, but a lot of their experience, not that I'm an expert in any way, but I know when it comes to the human part of it, like me, Dakotah, sitting across in the chair from you, because I still have to talk to you and I still have to explain things and I'm still in the room, right? The divine is doing a lot of things in that, but I still have to be there and I still have to speak to an experience, and be like, you know, these are things I did or tools that I used or things that I recommend for you to go through this healing. And so I don't know, it's unexplainable. There's something bigger at play. And I remember talking to someone who is someone that I go see, and that I can kind of consider a mentor in this space. And I'm like, it's weird, man. Like, what we do is weird. And I don't know how to explain it to people. I know that it is beautiful and it is healing and I love it. But it, you know, it's different. And, but I think I'm coming more to a place where I'm like, it's just mystery. It's not weird. It's just mystery.
Absolutely.
You don't have to understand everything. As long as it feels good, and you know that it feels good within your soul and your spirit. That's all that matters.
And it's coming from a right place.
And the thing is, I think we've been conditioned to put ourselves in the box as a society. That's why it may come off weird. Because if you look at any indigenous tribe in the world, you go into the jungles of South America, they're doing this stuff. You know what I mean? This is not something that just came about a couple decades ago. Somebody like, oh, Reiki healing, these rocks here, these crystals. No, like this stuff has been around for thousands of years, and Western culture has like marginalized us and put us in a box where we might feel like that's weird, you know?
Because
we're much less spiritual beings.
Exactly.
I would say they're much more spiritual practices that we've lost a little bit.
But I do feel like it's starting to become more open. I've really noticed within the past year, like, wow, people are opening up. I've started opening up in the past year. When did you start on your spiritual journey?
Well, I would say, you know, I've been on a spiritual journey my entire life. We're being raised in the Christian church. And I was raised, for, you know, anyone out there, maybe this means something to you, maybe it doesn't, but I was raised in the Pentecostal tradition, which is a more like charismatic, like me, you know, like, woo, we're the woo people, like not super traditional, like think opposite of Catholicism.
Okay.
No pews. And so I've been on that, you know, my whole life and going on mission trips. I went to a Christian college, and like my faith is a really huge part of who I am, and it always has been. Even the work that I did in nonprofits has always been connected back to my calling, that I felt like I really needed to do work with my hands and my feet. I needed to be helping people who were hurting. And so that's been the common thread through a lot of the things that I have done. And so, but I would say it's probably just been in the past 2 years as I've dealt with kind of the lowest low of my life, to come back to that and to need that. I mean, I had to lean on that. In some regards, I've heard people talk about how, you know, they lean on God or their spirituality or their faith or their religion when things are really, really good. It's always been the opposite for me. When I've been at my lowest lows, I'm like, bro, I need help.
I need help.
I'm really struggling down here. Like, I really need you to help me. And so it's always been like, when I'm good, I'm like, I'm good. Like, thank you for your help. But like, I'm good. I got this. Yep. And when things were bad was when I really leaned on my faith and my spirituality, and things were really, really bad there for a little while. And so I was really able to grow in that space and realize that it was, you know, God was bigger than maybe all the things that I had thought or been told growing up.
Yes, that is awesome. Where do you see yourself within the next year with your business, with yoga? I know you have some cool things coming up. Speak about that. People need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you just took a pretty courageous leap there.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that leap you just took?
I'm going to be crushing it. That's where I'm going to be in a year. So let's just put that out there.
Yeah.
So like I said, I started this business July 1, 2020 in the midst of a global pandemic is when I filed for my LLC. Woo woo. And then here we are, a year later, not where I thought I would be. I thought that this would be a side hustle for a while. Maybe I would take it into a full-time thing eventually, but that wasn't really in my worldview really until like the end of last year, like December, kind of January. Brienne Maynor of the Zeal Center was like, hey, we have this co-starter like business accelerator program. Like, you should do this for Dakotah Yoga. And I was like, man, like, I don't know. Like, I like my job at the Bishop Dudley House, and I don't know if I want to do that. And then the more that I thought about it, I got really, really sick. Some might say it was COVID. The COVID test was negative.
Same thing happened to her.
But still,
at the end of the year, it was like right after Christmas, and I was like dead to the world. Like, didn't even want to pick up my phone and get on Instagram. And if anyone out there follows me, you know that I literally live on Instagram. I need to work on that. But
she a low key filmmaker.
Yeah, I try. I dabble in the biz. So, but I got really, really sick, and I feel like that just gave me so much time to like stare at the ceiling and think about things and think about my life and where I wanted to go. And I was like, I've gotten a chance at a new start, with a divorce happening in 2020. And, you know, I'm 27. Yeah. And I was single, and I was like, I have this business. And if there's any time that I'm going to try really, really hard to make it in some way or make this business work and potentially fall flat on my face, it's now, you know, like I don't have kids, I don't have a husband, I don't have any of these things. Like, nothing is holding me back now from trying something so outrageously crazy. And it was just kind of like, let's do it. So I signed up for the program, and even throughout that program, it was 10 weeks, and I wanted to have a plan to launch.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
By the 8th week, I was like, guys, I'm quitting my job.
Peace.
Peace out. And everyone's like, what? I remember, so Eric Weiser is the CEO of Weiser Distributing. Yeah. And he told me after the program, he's like, the week that you came in and told us that you were quitting your job was the week that this got real for me. There was like, this can change people's lives. You know, like this is a real thing. Yeah. And he obviously, you know, knows all of the ups and downs of this as a business owner. And so, I decided to put in my month notice and transition out of my job as a 9 to 5, sitting behind a desk, having salary and health benefits and all those fancy things. And I was like, I'm going to go off on my own. And what's crazy about that is that it's also been a spiritual journey, because I had thought I had a little money tucked away in savings. And then, I kind of got raked over the coals when it came to my taxes. And had to pay in, and then had to pay the person that prepared it. And then my brakes went out on my truck. They're like, you're driving on borrowed time. Like, you could die at any second. Like, this thing has no brakes. And so I paid like $2,000 in brakes, and I was like, well, cool, my savings is gone. That was like my financial stability. Right. And I was like, what am I doing? I was like, God, am I even supposed to be doing this? You know, and it's like, I want you to trust me. You don't need that money today. You needed $2,000 to pay for the brakes, and you had it. You don't need another $2,000 right now. And when you need it, you'll have it. So I am literally just operating on the money will come in when I need it, and I'll have exactly as much as I need. And it's terrifying, but has been the biggest test of my faith, I think.
And it's preparing you, because it's like life knows when you take that leap, when you have that courage and you do it, life is like, oh, you doing this? Okay, I got something for you.
Yep.
Here's this. You're going to need this so you can, because there's going to be things that happen during this journey, and you're going to have to know how to overcome it.
Yeah.
It's like life throws you those obstacles,
Yep.
you know, when you have that courage and when you take that step, so that when you're, you know, met with that later on down the line, it's not going to ruin you, you know, because say you started this business and then boom, like for the first 2-3 years, you just making it rain, throwing cash everywhere. And then boom, something big happens.
You don't
You're
know how
like,
to
oh,
handle
what
it.
is this? What is, I didn't
I
know.
have this huge bill, or
Right.
I did my taxes completely incorrectly, and now here's your big tax bill as a business owner.
For
You know,
real. $30,000 later.
yeah.
Yep.
So, and it is, I've realized so much of that. I used to have such a tight grasp on my money and just like hoard it and all these things. And I was like, paying that bill, especially that tax bill, and then that for that truck, like right in a row, that would have ruined me. I would have turned my tail and I would have been like, nope, I'm not doing this. I mean, I wouldn't have ever had the bravery to go out and start a business on my own before, I think, but those things alone. And I was like, money is energy. Money is a tool.
Yep.
It flows in and out. And if
Absolutely.
you trust the process, it will come when you need it. And right now I don't need it. I can put a roof over my head. I can put food on my table, and that's what we need right now.
Absolutely.
So
Awesome.
And even by definition, current money is supposed to flow.
Yep.
That's the way that money works, you know.
Yeah.
It's not going to work if you're like clinging on to it, like, you know, hiding it places. You have to allow it to flow, and that creates more cash flow, more
Exactly.
currency. So
No, exactly.
for anyone on their self-love journey out there, what would you have for them? Like someone that's starting, you know, someone that is going through some things, whether personally, business-wise right now, what would you have for them?
good question.
Dun, dun,
Hard
dun.
question. There's so many things, but I don't want to throw all the things about you. I think the biggest thing that I did, and this was through the Leaders of Tomorrow program, was changing what I consumed. So you can take that in a million different ways, right? You can be
Yep.
like, oh, well, I could consume more water. I could eat better.
Yep.
But in a lot of other ways, it was I changed the people around me. And I built a community that was really uplifting to me, and a community that also was trying to be the best versions of themselves. And when I gained that, I mean, I did a lot of that through accountability groups. And when I changed that, I mean, I also then I was like, okay, well, I want to listen to podcasts that feed me, or I want to listen to music that feeds me and inspires me. I want to, you know, spend less time doing this, or, you know, unfollowing those toxic people, or taking those relationships out of my life. When I changed the people around me, everything else changed. And because when you're around those people that lift you, I think that's kind of like the first step that people need to go through, because then you're like, okay, well, they take care of their body and they do this, and this is the way that they, you know, their mindset. And then you're inspired by all those people, and it pushes you to be better. So all of that other stuff that I think is like additional on top of that, if you change the people around you, then everything else I think is going to rise
That's
after
That's
that.
big.
awesome. That's beautiful.
Don't
That
be
is so-
around average people. Be around rich people. People
Yes.
rich in health, wealth, happiness, joy, all of that good stuff.
Yes. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Dakotah with an H. Dakotah Jordan is my personal profiles, and then Dakotah with an H. Dakotah Yoga is both of my other profiles. So if you're interested in doing any classes with me, if you're interested in some Reiki healing now, or just want to see what it's about, or just follow me or interact with me, I'm there. I live on Instagram.
Or if you want to see some cool videos, because, you know, she's a low-key filmmaker. Like I said, she posted a dope video from her vacation
Yes,
recently.
that
So,
was awesome.
yeah, don't forget it. Dakotah with an H. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you, guys.
It's been
Thank
good.
you.
This is so much fun.
Yeah, this is People Being People, everyone. Go make your week a great week. You know, be above average this week. Do the things you have to do to pour into your life and make yourself better, because you deserve it.
And remember to love yourself.
Let's get it. People being people. Self-love isn't an easy journey.
Especially when you came from a really broken place inside of you.
It's an everyday joy.